What kind of coaching do you do?
I am a life transition coach, a relationship coach, and an interfaith minister. So I work with people who, mostly women. I like to say I work with overwhelmed, undernourished women and a few good men who are going through some kind of life transition. Oftentimes it's career, but of course then it rolls over into any number of transitioning in or out of relationships, kids leaving the house, a death of someone, and usually if someone's going through a transition in some area of their lives, it's most likely that there are several other ones going on too.
Is transition a word that is clear to most people? Do they know what you mean by transition?
That's a good question. Sometimes when I say that, I'm aware that people think that I'm using a euphemism for dying, which is not the case, although the metaphor of dying is often very much a part of any kind of life transition. So it's a life passage. There's all kinds of wonderful information and literature about the psychology of transition and the psychology of life changes, that there are actual phases that we move through that once people find out about them, they don't feel like they're going crazy or that their lives are falling apart. They understand that there needs to be, no matter what the transition is, even if it's a personal one, if it's a professional one, that it's important for them to acknowledge what it is that they're leaving behind and to mourn the loss and to say goodbye to it. And then there's a period that's called a bunch of different things. One of the granddaddies of transition theory, Bill Bridges, talks about it being the neutral zone. I think it's anything but neutral. It's the place where there's chaos, really. And it's a place where we need to go within to really reflect on what it is that we're leaving behind. And then as we move towards the third stage, which is the what's next. You know, what is it that we're bringing in? What is it that we want to create? It's the visioning, really creative possibilities stage.
You're really working with the stuff of people's lives. Is this a difficult task for you, or does it come easily to you?
I love it, and maybe it's because I've been through so many different transitions myself. Anybody that I work with, it seems that they know who I am. I always send them to my website first so they have a sense of all of me, that I've been through, the loss of a parent. I've had many different life changes myself and career changes myself. So it comes naturally, and there's an empathy there which people appreciate. I don't think you need to have experienced what your clients are going through in order to be able to coach them effectively, but I think they feel a natural connection when they know that I have gone through some of the things that they have.
What is your website?
It's spiritedliving.com. Spirit with an ED living.com.
Spiritedliving.com.
Right.
So the spiritual life is important to you also in the coaching.
Yeah.
Say more about that.
Well, the year that I officially finished my coaching practice or my coach training, was also the year that I was ordained as an interfaith minister, which was also the year that I finished my master's in psychology. And my thesis was on the power of transformative ritual. And so for me, that's the magical spiritual piece that comes into this. And when I speak and teach and coach around ritual, I talk about it being sacred play. And when we're in the midst of any kind of transition, we so need to come back to that reminder that this too shall pass. There's a lot of symbolic work that I do with people and archetypal work that I think really helps them get out of their head and into their bodies. We are such a society that lives so much in our heads, and to come back into their bodies to really create this sense of sacred play, to create an environment that is safe and sacred, which you can do over the phone. I do with coaching clients on the phone. I facilitate women's spirituality circles and have done that for 12 years. And that's very universal, the notion that we really hear each other into speech when we create that kind of sacred space, where if you're listening deeply to each other, if it's in a circle, or if I'm listening deeply to my clients, there's all kinds of really deep, magical wisdom that gets revealed.
In the experience of coaching, do you feel that you are in a partnership with the person, or are you the teacher or the leader? How would you describe your relationship to your client?
Very much as a partner. They, certainly the ones that find me, do know about my background and my expertise in these areas, and I think it's always a tricky balance of wanting them to find that in themselves, but I think it's more a process of asking the right questions, listening deeply, asking the right questions, so we all have that part of ourselves. We all have that soul spark, that scintilla that holds that wisdom, that as their partner, yes, I may give them some clues, for how to access it, but accent it, but they're really the ones who I can't know what it is, and it shouldn't. I mean, our spirituality and our sense of the sacred is a very personal thing.
Is your writing about that subject?
Yes, I have 2 books, one actually written with 2 other dear coach friends. We've wrote together for 8 years, first on a website, and it produced this first book, which is the Authentic Woman Playbook, Delightful Discoverings of Your Divine Feminine, for women. And the second one is my own book, which is called Circle of One, The Art of Becoming a Self-Centered Woman.
Say them both again.
The long titles. The first one is the Authentic Woman Playbook, and the Delightful Discoverings of Your Divine Feminine.
And what is that about, and how does that work?
It's a blend of journaling, coaching, calendar, taking women through the seasons of the year as metaphors for seasons in their life, seasons, how they can connect to the seasonal energies, literally, fall, winter, spring, what am I leaving out? Fall, spring, summer, winter. Thank you. Whatever all the 4 seasons are, and how that represents